our third Fiesta race of the weekend. Alistair Kellett has won both of the races so far. It has not been a weekend without controversy. We've had a 5-second penalty applied in the previous race to Dylan Hodgkin, unfortunately, within the ST150 field. And this is a new one to me. The penalty was given for manoeuvres likely to hinder other drivers, such as deliberate crowding of a car beyond the edge of the track or any other abnormal change of direction. I've never seen that wording before for a reason for a penalty. But anyway, driving standards infringement, essentially, for Dylan Hodgkins. Now, this is a partially reversed grid based upon the result from the previous race. So the top 7 have been reversed, meaning that 7th place finisher from race 2, Stuart Robbins, is on the pole position with Spencer Stevenson for company. Luke Pinder, the championship leader coming into the weekend, is there third on the grid alongside David Nye. Zach Lucas and Rob Smith are next, and then Alistair Kellett, our double victor, is there on the 4th row with Dominic Bush, who just missed out on the reversed grid pole. Then on row number 5, Simon Horrobin and Sam Watkins, Marco Ritchie and George Davis on the 6th row of the grid. Marlo Cordell and Dylan Hodgkin make up row 7. Bryony Davis and Jamie Going on row 8. Going's had a bit of a torrid weekend, actually. Contact at the start of yesterday's race, and he starts from the back again here in race number 3. Also, John Cooper and Ethan Rogers. Cooper was involved in that contact with Jamie Going. And Ethan Rogers, I forget actually what happened to him, but I know he had a non-finish in the previous race. He was the only non-finisher actually in race number 2 of the weekend. So, points-wise, it is a good weekend for Alistair Kellett, obviously, but he was some way back in the championship. Luke Pinder has not had a great weekend, and he's seen his championship lead slashed now. David Nye, Rob Smith, they've taken a good amount of points out of Luke. But again, drop scores yet to be taken into account because they still have another 6 races after this one. 3 at Donington Park, and then they're back again at Cadwell Park along with the Fiesta Juniors at the end of October for their championship finales. Right then, on the grid, we are ready to go racing. Then on the right-hand side is Stuart Robbins. The red car on the left is Spencer Stevenson. Lights go out, away they go, and that is a really, really aggressive start made by the blue car of Luke Pinder, trying to muscle his way in between the front row men on the run towards turn 1. How's that one going to work? He didn't get there, did he? So it's still going to be Robbins from Stevenson, I think, the top 2. Further back, bit of argy-bargy in the ST150s, but I think they all stayed just about within the white lines. No, there's a car off, and that was our race leader. That was Robbins into the barriers, I think, at Charlie's. Or did he rejoin, possibly? He did. There is, look, the blue and orange 100 car alongside Jamie Going, so he didn't hit the wall, but for some reason ended up off the track, despite the fact I thought he was clear in the race lead. That leaves Spencer Stevenson with the race lead now. Luke Pinder is right on his tail, though, as they make their way through the right-hander at Park Corner. That looked like David Nye in third. In the ST150s, I think that's Sam Watkins ahead of George Davis and Ethan Rogers, but we'll confirm that when they get further around the lap. But I think that is the order then, the 2 red cars at the head of the field. Pinder then on the charge here, needs to try and clear Spencer Stevenson before we get people like David Nye and Zach Lucas on his tail, but they are 3rd and 4th, those 2. The white car is Nye, the green car, dark green, is Zach Lucas, and then behind him you've got the likes of Alistair Kellett. It's Rob Smith, then Alistair Kellett 5th and 6th. So Kellett's only gained 1 position actually at the moment, just ahead of Simon Horrobin there, as they race through those Hall bends for the first time. The ST150s, by the way, there, look, I've just seen the Demon Tweaks liveried car is ahead, so that's George Davis ahead of Sam Watkins. That definitely wasn't the order at Park Corner, so there is George, and then Ethan Rogers gets past Watkins as well, so Rogers into 2nd place in the class, and Watkins down to 3rd. It's is that Marco Ritchie? Yeah, it is Marco Ritchie in amongst them again in his ST240 turbo car. So across the line they go then. Stevenson leads, 15-minute race this, so less time for the drivers to make up for lost ground with the reverse grid here than we saw in, for example, the MX-5 race just now. But Luke Pinder is trying to make a move now for the race lead. He pulls to the outside, over the top of the hill, into the braking zone at Park Corner. Pinder level with Stevenson, but on the wrong side of the road. Stevenson outbrakes himself, though. Pinder gets the switch back. Can he get up the inside at Chris Curve? No, not quite. And Spencer Stevenson just gets the door closed. This is going to really start stacking up, isn't it? Because Stevenson is delaying the whole group, really, as they come down the hill and backing Pinder up into Nye and Lucas and Smith and Kellett and Horrobin, all absolutely together as they make their way again into the Mansfield left-hander, all the way back as far as Dominic Bush this group goes, doesn't it? That's the top 8 cars together. And the gap back to Jamie Goings in ninth, Jamie Going in 9th and Robbins in 10th place. Over the mountain they pop 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them into the Hall Bends. No challenge being made this time as they head through the chicane section, if you like, if you can call it a chicane. It is technically, I suppose, but a very, very flowing part of the circuit through to the end of the second lap of the race then. So in the earlier races, we got 9 laps in. So 9 laps should be the distance. And Luke Pinder, as they start the third of those laps, is pulling alongside Spencer Stevenson for the race lead. He's got his nose ahead into turn 1, but that's on the outside line. And Stevenson had no choice but to let him go because I think Pinder was going to turn in regardless. So Luke Pinder gets the lead away as they go through the first couple of corners, and now he needs to try and set sail before the others get... Oh, hang on, something's happened. There's a car on the grass, and something has happened to David Nye. David Nye is not there in third. It's Zach Lucas in third now, ahead of Rob Smith, and then was it still Alistair Kellett? David Nye, though, has been off through the first couple of corners. There was a white car on the grass in the background, I think, which must have been him. So David Nye, championship contender, of course, unfortunately losing ground. I can't even see him in that group. So there he was, I think, a long way behind. I think he's the car sort of on his own in about 10th place, 11th place or so. So that means that Zach Lucas gets into third, and he will now really want to get on with passing Spencer Stevenson before Luke Pinder gets too far up the road, because Zach Lucas can see an opportunity here to score 3 race victories from 3. No one has done that yet. The first 2 events of the season at Croft and Alton Park were double headers, so just 2 races. They were both of them won by the same people. John Cooper won both of the races at Croft, Luke Pinder both of them at Alton Park. But the only other triple header we've had so far this year was last time out at Snetterton, where 2 wins went to David Nye, but the reverse grid race went to Jamie Going. So no one has managed to win 3 races in the same event so far this season. There is David Nye, so no damage on the car. Looks like he did that by himself, didn't he then? Bounced across the grass through Charlie's. A lot of time lost, though. To the 4th lap of the race then. 9.5 minutes or so to go. And Luke Pinder with the fastest lap, a 1 minute 40.816, getting away then. Back in the ST150s, Sam Watkins is having a bit of a mare look, because he's down to 4th now behind Dylan Hotchin. So there he is, Sam Watkins, the number 1 car, who has won both races so far this weekend in the ST150s, despite stiff opposition from Ethan Rogers and George Davis. But it's George that's got the lead now in 12th place overall. So waiting for the leaders to head over the hill. Here they come. There's Pinder sideways, and there's Lucas second. So Zach Lucas is ahead of the red machine of Spencer Stevenson. So what's the gap? It's going to be something like 1.5 seconds, isn't it, between Pinder and Stevenson? We'll get the gap at the end of the lap. That will be the starting point for Spencer to between Pinder and Lucas. That will be the starting point for Lucas to try and chase after the leader. Waiting for them to come over the hill. There is Pinder. There is Lucas, already getting away from Stevenson. Spencer Stevenson has 1 podium so far this season, which came in the 2nd race at Alton Park. That's 3rd place, so he's on course to match his season best if he stays where he is. But that's not going to be easy. He's got Rob Smith, championship contender, Alistair Kellett, championship contender, right behind him. As there, Ethan Rogers with smoke from the front of the car. He's going off. Oh, there's oil, there's fluid down at the Hall Bends. Cars off everywhere. Marco Ricci has spun. Oh, and there's another car coming into shot. That's the 27 around. They need to slow down. There's fluid on the track. Bryony Davis goes off. Bang into the wall goes Bryony Davis. And that is as a result of fluid from Ethan Rogers' car at the Hall Bends. A lot of damage done to the front of Davis's car, I'm afraid, heavily into the Armco barrier. And that will be a safety car, if not a red flag. There was some sort of... That's Rogers' car spinning. So Rogers spun on his own fluid, and then the marshals just didn't have time to react to it because the whole pack of ST150s was coming behind him, and a whole group of them lost control. Now, is Are they the only 2 cars that are stationary, though? Is there somebody else off, maybe? My, oh my, that was... and the red flag is out, unsurprisingly, because the recovery crews have had to head out onto the circuit to deal with this immediately. That was scary stuff. Of all the places to get fluid on the track, the Hall Bends is probably the worst, because it's so narrow but so fast, and the barriers are so close to the edge of the road. If you go off there, you're going to hit the wall, and unfortunately, I'm pretty sure it was Bryony Davis that was the one that hit the barrier. So we'll await further news on exactly how many people were involved and exactly who it was. But Ethan Rogers definitely the start of that, really. Now the field is being brought, I think, to a halt at the top of the mountain, because this is, of course, where there's the recovery effort ongoing.